Before we get into the top 10 for this video here, we still have Ghosts from the Past pre-sales up. For those of you that are getting them, I will leave a link down below. We're nearing the end of what we have, and then everybody's going to be like, you had Ghost? Be like, yeah, we made like 8 videos on this. Let's go digging into that top 10, shall we? Don't make 30% of you guys are not smashed. Leave a crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can get to 105,000. Top 10 cards pick up. Number 1 on our list here is going to be Dino Morphia. You are about a month away from the release of one of the coolest splashable engines in the game. Being able to make a monster that floodgates the opponent out of the game. And it can be plated with branded, by the way. Now, we're a couple hits away from ban list from that really happening here. But when you're looking at like $45 for current Dino Morphia prices to pick up like 3 Thursdays are like $10 a piece. You know, the trap card is literally like $5. You're doing yourself a disservice to not have this stuff right now. And like I said, you got some interaction points coming, everybody. And if you're caught with your pants down, you're going to be really disappointed with this one. It just takes one little thing for Thursday to shoot up to being a $20 card. And you're like, oh, I could have bought those much cheaper? Yes. Yes, you could have. Number 2 on our list here is going to be Neos Fusion. Now, this is an interesting one. So it's actually kind of is a big TCG thing right now, and this is also like kind of a reminder for what's coming here with like the new stuff. Being able to kind of act like a mill fusion from the deck, it really wasn't like the thing that caught my attention with this. It's just one of those things that's like, between like the Prismatic Secret Rares and the Supers for this, I was like, you know, I just kind of want to give a nod to this card. Because considering the level of splashability and things that you kind of get with this card, it seems pretty good. Now, you do have to play some bricks in order to kind of offset some of that stuff, but really considering the fact that everything that's coming down the pipeline here in terms of new hero support, I would make sure I have a playset of these. All right, you're not in a bad position whatsoever to spend $9-10 for a playset of supers. Like, that's not going to break the bank whatsoever. So something to consider for that. Now, another one in combination here with this is going to be the Elemental Hero Brave Neos. Now, this thing is from Savage Strike. It's got a $1.50, probably $2 price tag afterwards. And I just kind of wanted to give a note to this and say I would probably have one of these set aside. I'm not particularly too crazy about this card, but it does have an interesting little reaction point with Neos Fusion, because the requirements are a level 4 or lower effect monster, which means you kind of get some interesting little reaction or little dump points for this. Basically turns our Neos Fusion into a Foolish Barrel for anything that's level 4 or lower, which, if you're already picking up copies of Neos Fusion, throw one of these in your cart so you can make sure, maybe I kind of want to mess around with the possibility that Neos could bring to the table. Might be something you like. All right, next up here is Sun Avalon. Now, I've mentioned this in a lot of these videos, and a lot of the general consensus I'm getting from the player base is, Robbie, why do you keep mentioning this deck? Well, this deck has one of the coolest turnaround points in the game. Like, honestly, being able to just have a starter that can climb up into a giant tree is cool. But this deck just got its more recent regional top, locking down a 2nd place. Now, the deck is very combo extensive, but I'm not going to lie to you. It is so fun to watch play. All right, like the extra link boards. To me, it makes Balancer have a purpose in life, and I think that's actually really cool. I would honestly make sure I had this core set aside, because you never really know what's going to happen with the big old tree. And I do really mean that, because Sunseed Sowing was a really good card, and all this deck needs is like 1 or 2 more cards to bump it up to, you know, a consistent tier 2 for sure. All right, next up here is going to be Blackbeard, the Plunder Patrol Captain. So this is actually a big nod for Ghosts from the Past here, actually. The fact that the big captain did not see what we wanted to see in terms of value coming back for him. A lot of people are kind of picking this up right now. The card's value has shot up through the roof very, very heavily. And I really want to say that it'd be nice if we didn't have to do this, but every blue moon something dodges a reprint, and this just so happens to be the one. So if you're planning on picking up the reprinted Plunder Patrol stuff, you are unfortunately going to have to fight for Blackbeards at this point in time because they've already started going up in price. But I wanted to give the nod here and say, hey, be aware of this market. Blackbeard's starting to do his thing. So if you're waiting for that reprint stuff, grab these now before it's too late. I mean, considering the fact Plunder's done very well this format, yeah. Next up is Bahutia, the Grand Radiance. Remember, you can tribute summon this card by tributing one effect monster. During your opponent's main phase, if a card or cards is added from the main deck to their hand except by drawing it, and this card is in your hand, you can immediately, after this effect resolves tribute, summon this card. This card is no more special summoned from the hand. You can make your opponent banish the top cards of their deck face down, equal to the number of cards in their hand, and then they shuffle their entire hand into the deck, and if they do, add the banished cards to their hands. This is a very interesting little reaction point here, because it forces a hand reset. Looking at this card, I've seen this come up once or twice in the OCG, but it's ever really been about that. They're 88 cents a copy right now as I'm making this video. So if you got $3 and you want to play the penny stone game just to kind of have an interesting time out here, this might be one of those cards that, you know what, might pay off in the long run, but we'll have to wait and see. You gotta really love old cards. Next up here is going to be the Agent Structure deck, effectively, that's built into Ghosts from the Past, too. Now, I know a lot of people are looking at the Agent Structure and going, it's coming in too late. And I do agree with that to a degree. But one thing I do want to say about the Structure deck being imported is, if you were a huge fan of Agents, I think that this deck can probably pull off some Tier 2 wins. Relatively easily. I think it will be coming in at a decent Tier 2 slot, but you've still got issues. You're still gonna have to pick up all the cards. It's gonna be more expensive than a standard Structure deck. I'm mainly putting this in here because I'm an avid fan of wanting to pick up everything, but just kind of be aware that once, you know, the set circulates and you start to see these prices go down, yeah, you might want to give this a pickup. I know a lot of people are excited for this, but I'm just putting it on the radar of things to really consider at this point in time. Next up here is going to be Common Ghost Ogre from the Albaz Strike Structure deck. These things are dollars, and I know a lot of people like good long-term penny stonks. Now, the downside about this is the Ghost Sisters are announced for reprints again come the next big Megatins next year. But we've seen pretty much over time what happens with these Ghost Sisters. So getting a double down reprint seems like a very good thing, and don't get me wrong, it is a good thing. But unfortunately, these will probably skyrocket. I would say if you buy these at dollars, probably in a year and a half, 2 years, at the next point that Ogre becomes relevant again, you're probably going to be looking at $2 to $3 a copy. And I mean, turning a $100 investment into $200, it might not be great for like the long term, but hey man, it seems I'll play those odds. Next up here is Contact C. So, Albaz doing what Albaz does. Your opponent normally special summons a monster except during damage step, and you special summon this card from her hand. That card's controller cannot fusion, synchro, exceed, or link summon unless they use this card as material. You know, people are playing Spriggan to out this. And it's a very, very hilarious thing. But we've already seen, like, this is a current OTS super in circulation. We've seen these going for $4. I think we've seen this card bought out 3 to 4 times at this point in time, and they keep regenerating. I just wanted to give the heads up here yet again and go, all right, you know, you might want to make sure you have some Contact Cs. Albaz is here for a hot second to stay in the metagame, which means preparedness is always going to be key, ladies and gentlemen. You want to make sure you are on top of this. So, putting this on the list back here as a potential pickup here. And the last thing is going to be super polymerization, being able to rip apart an opponent's field. This is a general nod here to make sure you have 3 of these things. I don't care what rarity it is, whatever's going on. Super Poly's playability continues to grow as more and more of these, let's say, generic things are released, and just more and more of the interaction points in the meta continue to extend. So, that being said, keep an eye on this. I am not surprised to see that we've seen wild price shifts on these, but you know, the market is doing some interesting things right now. So keep an eye on these 10 awesome things. Guys, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on in the day for some more cool awesome content. Peace out, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.